Hey folks, I want to give you a quick update where I'm going with this amp that I'm building. So I've had a long, hard think about this, and as you recall, my plan was to make a Fender 56F, which is basically the equivalent of a 59 Fender Bassman, which are basically the holy grail of amps. And as you recall, I have trouble underneath with space, and I was going to use this board, and I actually have tacked in some of the components here on this board, which I was going to mount underneath. And just to give you an idea, the components that you see here line up to the components that you see in orange. So just those little bit of components are here. But you know, I had to give it some thought. So a little bit of the history here. I've always wanted a Fender 59 Bassman. Now these things are the holy grail. You could find them on eBay for $10,000. More than that, sometimes less than that. These things are really, really good sounding amps, and especially for a bass, they're just amazing. To give you some context, they were used in most of the Beach Boy recordings, like Pet Sounds and all that stuff. There was a bunch of people called the Wrecking Crew that recorded all that music, and they used the Fender Bassmans. A lot of the early groups used them. The Who used them. So what I was seeking to do was make my own, and unfortunately this is just not going to work. It's too small. I'm not going to be able to fit it in the way I want. That's going to be a problem. I know I'm going to get noise. So change of plans. So let me show you where I'm going to go with this. I'll be right back. Alright, so guess what? Instead of buying a $10,000 amp that you know, has a lot of character and is old, I'm going to make one. So this is something I always wanted, so I'm going to spend the money on it. I have, as you can see, and this is a Fender 59 Bassman cabinet. It holds 4 10-inch speakers, and you can see that it's covered in tweed, which is the original that were used on those, and it has the leather handle right here. And just to flip it around, in the back, standard operating stuff here. This is where the control panel gets mounted. It gets mounted down in here like this, and the tubes hang down. And you'll see that I've even printed a tube chart to mount in there after I age it and weather it. It's exactly what it looks like. And that gets mounted typically right here on the wall. And here's the chassis. So this is what the chassis looks like. You can see my reflection in there. It's got the standard, there's the camera. It's got the standard things, ground, fuse on. It's got all of the controls, normal, bright, and then underneath, you know, it's the inside of a chassis basically. And this is what I'm going to build. And after I build this gets installed, like I said, in the cabinet like this, facing down like that. And I've also ordered the original Jensen speakers that were in these things, and I'm going to have myself a Fender Bassman 59. So the project is going to morph into a Bogan Bassman amp to a genuine 59 Fender Bassman amp that I'm going to make. I've got most of the parts already. I'm going to use really good parts on this. I'm going to use orange drops in this thing. I'm only going to do this once, and I'm going to do it right. I'm going to use solid wire for the filaments. And I've done a lot of research on this, and they use solid wire on the filaments, and they actually rise them up here and drop them down. And the wires that come up to the controls here are really short. And I'm going to do this right, and I'll take you along for the ride as I start to build it. I have the turret board, which gets mounted in here. So I'm just waiting for a few more parts that I need to begin the construction, and that's what I'm going to do. So change of plans. That's why I haven't posted anything in a bit. I've been deciding what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go for it. Life is short, and I'm going to do it. Okay? So stay tuned. So we're going to change the name of the series to a Fender 59 Bassman. That's what we've got here. Until I see the rest of the parts and we start building it, until next time, this is Ron. By the way, I'm going to obviously pull this transformer out. That's the transformer that goes in it, and I still have the output transformer in the choke, and I'll use that in the new setup. Anyway, this is Ron. Oh, okay, one more. Here's the turret board. Here's the turret board that goes in there, and this is the board that goes in the cap for the caps, and that gets mounted on the top, and there's a tin cover that goes on top of that. So I've got all those pieces. Now I'm really going to say goodbye. This is Ron. Bye later.